Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 7 of Crafting with Tracy. It's Sunday the 17th of March at 1:05 p.m. Just the start of another Sunday afternoon's crafting for me. Well, I thought I'd say hi. It's been a while, for which I apologise. My last podcast was about 3 months ago, which is quite embarrassing really. But I've been through a spell where I haven't been very well. I've been suffering from extreme fatigue and pain, and to the point that when I finished work in the evenings, I just wasn't doing any crafting, which is most unlike me. And finally, I've managed to be started on some new medication, which seems to be helping. I'm sleeping better, and I feel generally more like my old self, and have been crafting like it's going out of fashion. But firstly, we have a new setup in the house. I'll try and show you by re-angling the camera. So there's Oscar, who sadly lost his brother Oliver in December, just before Christmas, who now graces us with his presence on the sofa. Next to him is Millie, then Lucy, who is now besties with Oscar. And then on this side of me, down a bit, I have Millie. You can't really see her because she's laid in the most unusual of angles, but no doubt she'll make her presence felt later on in the podcast. Right, so hopefully I've got you back in the right position now. So I'm just going to, I've got some finished objects, which I've managed to do a few crystal art cards, which was about all I could do. So I'll just show these just quickly. There's one. I know they're Christmas, but if I don't do them now, by the time Christmas comes round, I won't have any to do. That's that. I won't have any to send. Not that I send many, because the price of the postage is ridiculous now. That's the other one. And last but not least, haven't done any canvases because I just haven't had the oomph in me, but hopefully that's next on the cards. Okay, so sorry about that, I moved my trolley. So I've got another finished object, which is a pair of socks. And I can't quite believe it. It's the fastest I've ever made a pair of socks in my entire life. And I don't really know why they've gone so quickly. I only use a plain sock pattern, and this one is by Elliot Craft House Magic, who is one of the people I follow on YouTube, and I find her such a huge inspiration. Her yarn is beautiful, and it just, every time I watch, it just makes me want to knit. So these are my finished socks, which I'm really pleased with how they've come out. They're sisters, but they're not complete matching pair. They're not too far off, but I don't really worry if they don't match exactly. I still wear them. No one sees them because they're either in boots and shoes and under trousers, so it's fine by me. The yarn is Drops Fable. I think it's called Heather. I don't know. I've had it in my stash for ages, wound up, and I just never did anything with it, to be quite honest. So I finished those in a week, in just over a week, I think about 6 days. Before that, the only thing I could really concentrate on doing was my Battenberg blanket, which is a pattern by Sandra Paul. And as you can see, it's a bit difficult to hold up now because it's getting rather big. But each square is about 2.5 inches, so it's really small. But I'm really finding this therapeutic, So when I don't know what to do, I do work on this. The yarn in the squares is from Elliot Craft House Magic, Mrs. Rabbit Yarns, who sadly doesn't die anymore, Wild Rose Yarns, and the white is just a standard James Brett baby 4-ply, which is coming up a slightly larger, but I'm not too worried about that. I think this is going to be really nice when it's finished, and I love it, to be quite honest. I'm itching to work on it again, but my song Gold Blanket, I started it, did the first week within time, and then the tiredness and the pain struck, so I'm embarrassed to say I've done one stripe of week 1, week 2, and I haven't done any more. Starbright Blanket is the same way. I've done about 8 squares, and then I didn't feel up to doing it, so it's all in project bags, waiting for me to start on it, which it will. The other thing I've been working on that I haven't really been able to settle on, I don't know why, but I don't know if anybody relates to this, but Mum and I always used to sit and knit and crochet together. If one picked up crochet, the other one would, and we'd kind of help each other along and spur each other on. When Mum passed away in August, I couldn't touch my knitting. Only thing I could do was crystal art, which I did. But I just couldn't. I cast on about 3 or 4 different garments and ripped the whole lot out because I either didn't get on with the yarn, wasn't enjoying knitting it, or the pattern wasn't working out, or I kept going wrong. I really don't know why, because I'm quite an experienced knitter. I've been knitting since I was 11, but I just couldn't. I don't know, I think I lost my knitting mojo and my confidence, and I really only got that back Christmas time when I was watching all the various vlogs that were going on, Vlogmas posts on YouTube. I watched hundreds of different ones all over Christmas and beyond, and I found them to be really inspiring. And I sat watching Ellie's podcast last weekend, and she was introducing all the other podcasters that were meeting at the East Anglia Yarn Festival last weekend, and I happened to stumble across Shannon and Amanda of Blue Fern Yarns. They are Norfolk Girls Knitting on YouTube and Instagram, and I found, I don't know, it feels like I found the perfect people to follow. Now, Amanda knits size inclusive knits like I do. I have never ever made a pattern from Ravelry. I haven't got the confidence. I only ever knit from patterns by Serdar because they come up big enough to fit me. Stylecraft Patterns have just started doing larger sizes, but I've never had the confidence to knit a pattern off Ravelry. So after much guidance, and Ellie's posted me, answered questions and sent me links to patterns which I've bought and added to my Ravelry library, which is growing rather rapidly. But I found that Amanda and Shannon are a mother and daughter duo who have me in hysterics. And it's so refreshing to find someone that knits the larger size garments, and it's given me a whole big confidence boost. I've had a flax jumper pattern by Tin Can Knits printed off for months and months and months and months, and I haven't done it. I've never really knitted a shawl, There's lots of things on my to-do list that I haven't had the confidence to do. But, you know, it's a new start and we'll see how we go. So this is my jumper. The pattern is a really boring plain jumper. Let me just grab the pattern that I'm using. It's a Serdar pattern. As I say, this is all I've been able to knit from in the past. That's the pattern. So it's just a basic crew neck pattern by Serdar. And I started off wanting to do plain just because it was all I could get my head around at the time. And then I decided, no, actually, I'd like a pattern on it. So I've got some books that are very old by Harmony that allow you to put patterns on plain jumpers because it gives you the stitch counts. And this was what I've done. The yarn is so old. I can't even find the ball bands, but it was in my stash and it's really pretty, just white with some pastel-y flecks in. And basically, instead of doing the pattern solid, like all the way up, I've broken it up. So I've done 5 pattern repeats, 3 pattern repeats, and then 1 pattern repeat just on the front. And I think that's going to look really nice. So that's my progress on that one. I've done the front and I'm this far up the back now, which I'm just doing plain because it's a nice bit of vanilla knitting. And I've literally picked it up this morning. I wasn't comfortable on the needles I was using, so I found these in Mum's knitting bag that are Knit Pro circular, fixed circulars. And I'm using that and I'm flying. I think because I'm used to knitting on a circulars, waiting for some higher sharps to come, which are my absolute favourite needles of all. I really like knitting with those, but I'm waiting for them to come. But I only ordered them the other day, so, you know, that I've got to be patient. Not everybody works Fridays and weekends. So I'm waiting for those to come. Once they come, then that'll probably, my jumper will be back in its bag and I'll be casting on something new because I really want to try a shawl. And that's on my to-do list first, I think. I'm just a bit about doing garments because Mum used to always pin them together and sew them up and help me put them together, so I've got to learn to do that on my own, which, you know, it's something that's a bit, I mean, I haven't cast on a cardigan. Oh goodness, no, shock horror at the thought of picking up all round the neckline. And then I sat there the other day thinking, well, hang on a minute, when I pick up the gussets on socks, do they have holes in? No. Do they look lumpy? Do I miss stitches? No. So I can pick up. So what's the issue in moving from a pair of socks to a jumper and picking up round the neck, or a cardigan and picking up round the button bands? So who knows? So that's where we're at. I've got crystal art to do this afternoon because I've got a few family birthdays in the next week, including my lovely niece Becky, who is 18 this week. Mum would have been so proud of her. Sorry. She's recently passed her driving test first time, and she's turned out to be the most beautiful, caring young lady. So yeah, that's something that I'm really proud of. And Mum would have been super proud of her for all she's achieved and how hard she's working. So happy birthday to Becky this week. And it's my sister-in-law Justine's birthday as well this week. And also my brother's birthday. on the 24th, next Sunday. So a big happy birthday to all of you. Sorry for all my tears, but it just makes me a bit emotional. Because she's 18, which is a really, really special birthday and one to be celebrated. And I'm really happy for her because she's doing so well. And I'm just so pleased that she's working hard at sixth form and studying and working, and she's a really lovely girl. So we're proud of you, Becky. What else is going on this week? I've started working on the garden, which I've decided I'm not going to bother with much with the borders because the dogs use them as a run round and a playground, so there's no point. So I'm just going to prune my roses and the clematis, put some flower seed, just, broadcast it across the borders, and what grows, just to help the bees produce their lovely honey. Just because it's something I want to do, and I want to give my garden over to the wildlife. So that's what I'm doing with the garden. I should keep the lawn manicured and everywhere trimmed and just keep it tidy. But I want some flowers, so at the moment there's lots of alliums coming up and daffodils are coming up, and tulips. So once they're over, I need something to replace them. So that's what I'm going to do. What else is there to tell you about? I think that's all. I haven't really ordered any yarn because I haven't got the money to pay for it. Well, I've got a couple of bits coming from Elliot Craft House Magic because it was rude not to order any to accompany the new needles, wasn't it? Had to be done. But I'm not going to show, I decided I'm not going to show yarn purchases because I know there's a lot of people in the same position as me that can't afford to buy a lot of yarn. Which was the other nice thing about Norfolk Girls Knitting podcasts. Because a lot of people only make garments in hand-dyed yarn. I can't afford to do that, not in the size I would need to do. And Amanda uses quite a lot of commercial shop-bought yarn, which is nice. So that's what I'll be doing moving forwards. I'm so sorry about the tears earlier. I'm over that now, but it's how it goes, isn't it? Something makes you cry and that's it, you're over it again. So yeah, this afternoon I'm going to be knitting and doing some crystal art. I've got some dinner to cook for myself, and that's it. That's me. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this short episode, and me blubbing halfway through hasn't put everybody off the dinner. So, if you like my podcast and want to see a bit more, please like and subscribe. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook as Tracy Sutton. And what else is there to say? Crystal Art Craft Buddy. If you want to buy some and give it a try, and you enter TRACY 15, that's Tracy 15 at your checkout, that will give you 15% off your first purchase. So happy Sunday, everybody, and happy crafting. Bye for now.